The metal box wasn't just metal, it was Tom's life, his sacrifice, his proof that he'd faced hell and walked out alive. And Karen, that self-righteous queen of the cul-de-sac, thought she could just take it. Tom Harris, a 68-year-old Vietnam veteran, had been blind for 2 decades, his sight stolen by shrapnel in a war most of the town only read about in history books. His metal box containing a Purple Heart, a Bronze Star, and a faded photo of his platoon was his tether to those days, a reminder of the brothers he lost and the courage he found. Every year, at the Pinewood Community Center's Memorial Day event, Tom would bring it out, letting kids touch the medals, telling stories with a voice that trembled but never broke. The town loved him for it. They called him Sarge, a nickname that stuck like glue. Karen Mitchell, on the other hand, was the kind of woman who'd argue with a brick wall and expect an apology. She ran the neighborhood association with an iron fist, her manicured nails clicking on her clipboard as she enforced rules about lawn heights and mailbox colors. To her, Pinewood was her kingdom, and she was its unchallenged ruler. But Tom was a problem. He didn't care about her petty regulations. His yard was a little wild, his flagpole a touch crooked, and worst of all, he didn't bow to her authority. Karen hated that. She hated how the town adored him, how his quiet dignity outshone her loud demands for respect. The trouble started at the community center's annual fundraiser. Karen had organized it, of course, down to the last paper napkin. She'd been eyeing Tom's metal box for weeks, ever since he'd mentioned donating it to the local museum for a veterans exhibit. To Karen, that box was a status symbol, a shiny prop she could use to boost her own image. She'd been dropping hints, offering to safeguard it, but Tom brushed her off. "It's not about glory," he'd said, his cloudy eyes fixed somewhere past her. "It's about memory." That night, the center was packed. The air smelled of barbecue and cheap beer, and laughter mingled with the hum of a local band. Tom had set his metal box on the display table, next to a guest book for donations. Karen, in her crisp white blazer, hovered nearby, her smile tight as she watched people fawn over Tom's stories. She saw her chance when he stepped away to talk to a group of kids. The box was unguarded, gleaming under the fluorescent lights. No one noticed when she slipped it into her oversized tote bag. No one, that is, except Jenny, the teenage volunteer working the snack table. Jenny was sharp, the kind of kid who noticed everything but said little. She saw Karen's quick, nervous glance, the way her hand lingered in the bag. Jenny didn't say anything right away, she was too stunned. But she told her dad, a local cop, and by morning, the rumor was spreading like wildfire: Karen stole Tom's metal box. The confrontation came 2 days later, outside the community center. Word had gotten out, and the town was buzzing with outrage. Karen, defiant as ever, showed up to clear her name, clutching the box like it was hers by right. Tom was there, his cane tapping the ground, his voice low but razor sharp. "You think you can steal a man's life and call it a favor?" he said, loud enough for the growing crowd to hear. Karen's face flushed red. "I was protecting it," she snapped. "You're too old to handle something this valuable." The crowd gasped. Jenny, standing near her dad, shouted, "You're a liar," and pointed to the box in Karen's hands. The tension exploded. People yelled, some calling Karen a thief, others demanding she give it back. Tom's hands shook, not from fear but from a rage he hadn't felt since the war. "You don't get to decide what's mine," he said, stepping closer. Karen, cornered, doubled down. "This town deserves better than a half-blind old man hoarding relics," she spat. It was a mistake. The crowd surged forward, their voices a roar. Someone grabbed the box from Karen's hands, passing it back to Tom. He clutched it to his chest, his fingers tracing the familiar edges, tears streaking his weathered face. Karen, for the first time, looked small. Her blazer was wrinkled, her hair out of place. The town she'd ruled for years turned on her in an instant. By the next morning, her name was plastered across every local headline: Karen Mitchell steals blind veterans' medals in shocking betrayal. The fallout was brutal. Karen's social media was flooded with hate memes, rants, even a viral video of her meltdown at the community center. She tried to spin the story, claiming she'd borrowed the box to preserve it, but no one bought it. The museum, horrified, cut ties with her. The neighborhood association voted her out. Her husband, a quiet man who'd always stayed in her shadow, packed a bag and left. Karen became a pariah, her kingdom reduced to a silent house and a lawn she no longer cared to maintain. Tom, meanwhile, struggled to move on. The box was back in his hands, but the violation lingered. He stopped going to community events, stopped telling his stories. The kids missed him, and the town felt his absence like a wound. Jenny, guilt-ridden for not speaking up sooner, started visiting him, bringing him coffee and reading him the headlines. Slowly, Tom began to open up again, but his trust in Pinewood was fractured. "I fought for this country," he told Jenny one day, his voice heavy. "Didn't think I'd have to fight for my own memories." The story of Karen and Tom became a cautionary tale, whispered in barbershops and shared over diner counters. It wasn't just about a stolen box, it was about pride, betrayal, and the cost of envy. Karen's fall was spectacular, but it was Tom's quiet pain that hit hardest. The town had rallied for him, but it couldn't undo the theft of his peace. The headlines faded, but the scars didn't. In the end, Karen left Pinewood. Some said she moved to a city where no one knew her name. Others said she was still out there, scheming, unrepentant. Tom kept his metal box on his mantle, a silent sentinel of his past. He didn't talk about it anymore, but he didn't need to. The town remembered. And they'd never let Karen forget. What do you think? Did Karen deserve her downfall, or was the town too quick to judge? Share your thoughts on justice and redemption in a community torn apart.